Thank you for having me here. Today I'd like to tell you about a new community of research that we are building here at the University of Haifa. Science faces a problem. We are, all of us, siloed into different bubbles by our methodologies and by our funding. And this is really making it difficult to do research. So for instance, if we look at an important question that I think that is kind of bothering all of us, what causes a pandemic? We would really like to know, when we read on the news that there's a new cowpox in Texas, we'd like to know, should we start panicking, or is it just something that's important for Texas? But the people studying this are all in their own bubbles. There's one person studying how cows and humans infect each other. There's another person studying how the disease spreads to humans and epidemiologically. There's a third person studying the microbes themselves and how they evolved. And finally, there's a person who studies immune responses. And none of them talk to each other. And none of them know anything about lungs, which happens to be where the disease lives. And they could care less how the disease progresses or know anything about it. And so we're stuck. Now, how can we get out of this problem? How can we burst the bubbles? I think we have a solution, and the solution is to use questions. Questions can be a network that connects us, that can connect scales. So for instance, we can open up a question asking, how does the immune system interact with the lungs? So the disease drives the immune response, and the immune response resolves the disease. And together we will get a more complete picture of the disease. Or once we have that, we can ask, how does the progression of disease in one person influence the pandemic, influence the way the disease spreads? Does the fact that some people resolve it quickly or not, does that change the way the disease spreads? And so building question on question, eventually we can make a network of questions that connect the whole problem and allow us to answer this question of how a pandemic spreads. Now, to make this kind of network, we need a community. And here in Haifa, we are building this such a community at the Center for Biophysics and Quantitative Biology. The idea of this center is to bring people together to ask questions across methodologies and across scales of biology. Now, we already have the bones, the beginnings of this community. There are over 30 labs across the university who have joined in the center, but we need to strengthen this thing. We need to build up the flesh of the community. And to do that, we have 3 stages where we will go from sort of simple to hard, okay? We want to start out by having joint conversations outside of our bubbles. And to do this, we've organized a bunch of mini symposia where we bring people, at least several lecturers from different scales of biology, to talk about a common question. And we also plan to have research and progresses which will allow the students, the member students of these labs, to present their research to a wider audience. In this way, we will train people's ears to listen outside of their bubbles and train people also to speak about their research in a way that's interesting not just to their own little field, but to other people. That's the first stage. The next stage is learning. We want the students, and maybe the professors, to learn things not just from the people they're used to listening to. So we have organized several workshops where we bring scientists from different fields to cover a specific theme. For several years now, we've already been having the artathon. I should be pointing this way. You don't know this, but I'm watching a slide just behind you. So we would like people to listen together, and in the artathon, we brought researchers from computer science, from design, and from biology to sit together for several days and in a hackathon design new ways to visualize biology. So that's learning together. And finally, our hope is to have collaboration together, the whole network, whether it's different labs working together on common research projects, or even better, common students who live in several labs and have multiple PIs teaching them how to do science at different scales and from different methodologies. But taken together, we hope to use this student-first approach where we raise up a new generation of students who don't have bubbles, who are working in the wider realm of multi-scale science and biology, and create a global outreach, which is already happening. Our center has collaborated with other centers in Porto, at Yale, and in Princeton, and so we hope to do this, to create a new science of biology. And in that spirit, I would like to invite you all to come and join us at the center. We really would like to have you, whether it's as audience or speakers at our mini symposia, as students or teachers in our workshops. And even better, if you have new questions or new research ideas you would like to bring to the center, we are waiting to hear from you. The email up there is the center's email, and if you want more info, you can look at the website. And we're waiting for you guys to come on over. We look forward to seeing you, and thank you.